This is Carl with the three things I'm watching for Friday, September the 26th. Starting out, a bit of a harvest recap. Starting to get a little bit more data coming in. Guys are making some progress out here. Not just corn, but soybeans. Starting to get into them. These are the reports we're picking up so far, and this is just broad based. Most of the corn is about as good as last year. Very few people telling me that their corn is better than last year. Not saying we won't find some, but just we haven't found it yet. Interesting fact, I had a guy tell me that he is harvesting the same volume of corn, but his bushels are down. Low test weight. I get a feeling that might be a little bit more of an issue this year than what we've let on. Hearing some rumblings in central Illinois that they have a little bit of test weight concern, a little bit out in Iowa too. So, and I expect to see it in quite a bit more. The finish we had does indicate low test weights this year. Um, on soybeans, starting to hear a little bit of harvest reports there. Most guys saying their soybeans are running pretty good. Now we hear this better than expected, and I take that with a grain of salt because who knows what you were expecting. Most guys saying the soybean yields are running about like last year, maybe a touch better. So the USDA at 53 point whatever bushels per acre might be a touch high. They might be a touch high on the yield, but we have no yield to give up. Even if we just shave 2 bushels off, we're still bigger crop than we had last year, and it would cause extreme panic in that soy complex. So, harvest next week we'll pick up a lot more. Big open week for harvest activity. We should have a lot better numbers next week. Interior basis. Want to talk on this quickly. Yesterday I hit on the corn basis. Did get a lot of feedback on that. Harvest delays, the wet crop is why Kansas is shopping for corn. Apparently, there's not a lot of old crop corn left to get in Kansas or anything closer in north central Iowa either, though. So, does seem like there's a little bit of a void there to be filled. Interesting yesterday, soybean basis, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, popped 15 cents right at the start of harvest. Most soybean bids were about steady in the interior market. If that Cedar Rapids is popping up, either they are short on, it's the same thing. They're either short on inventory or they're looking at the crop saying, you know what, we should probably jump out here and buy what we can first. We're starting to see a little bit more of that take place. That is a good sign for basis, good sign for bids, not so great for yields. And then our third and final thing I want to hit on here this morning is our soybean demand. And I kind of want to open up a different way of looking at that. Our soybean exports right now are down 37% from last year at 11 million metric tons cumulative. We knew that. We're down about 6.5 million metric tons from last year at this time. We had sold 17.5 million metric tons. The only buyer we're missing from last year to this year, China. Everybody else has bought just as many soybeans as they have last year, or we've sold as many regardless. The thing is, what we're starting to look at with these yields and these basis levels, what if China does show up? Is starting to be the answer. How much Chinese business can we afford? Yesterday, the Chinese government told President Trump if we wanted the U.S. wanted China to buy their soybeans, all we had to do is drop our tariffs. Put that ball back in President Trump's court. Now he's got to make the decision. Do I hold tariffs and choke off exports, or do I ease the tariffs a little bit and get some business? President Trump is considering a farm bailout subsidy coming from tariff income. That's a whole nother story we'll hit on a little bit later. But our soybean exports, not as bad as what we look. We could use Chinese business to maybe change the mindset of the market, but be careful what you wish for. Those are the three things I'm watching today.